Live from KSAT 12, the night beat starts right now.
First and foremost, we don't want anybody to get hurt.
Watch the traffic, watch the traffic.
He's all over the road, he's in between cars.
It is an older neighborhood, so the streets are very narrow.
Inside a high-speed chase that lasted well over 20 minutes during San Antonio morning rush hour.
The man behind the wheel of that van, a suspect in a machete attack. Fernando Kiala sentenced to 8 years in prison as part of a plea deal last month.
The night team's Dillon Collier sat down with some of San Antonio police officers, some of them who were using precision pursuit skills to take Kiala into custody, but not without a fight. It's tonight's Crime Fighters report.
As officer after officer joined this chase on August 3rd, 2017, the picture of who exactly they were pursuing was still forming.
They may be trying to go back to the house.
The driver of this white van, later identified as Fernando Kiala, refused to pull over after an officer spotted him fleeing a home north of downtown. Inside that house, with its front door barricaded, police found 2 women bleeding out from machete wounds.
We have 2 victims, one's pretty cut.
Instead of responding to where they were, I tried to respond to where they were going to be.
Officer Robert Barrera and Detective Gabriel Gallegos,
The officers were way further back.
were part of SAPD's ground pursuit. That's Barrera imploring the department's Blue Eagle helicopter to lock onto Kiala as he pulled away on US 281 South. The person controlling SAPD's camera in the sky that morning, veteran officer and pilot Edward Ramirez.
He wasn't going to go willingly, and it showed.
With Ramirez now calling the turn,
He just made a left-hand turn, one southbound now.
Barrera, Gallegos, and company followed at a safe distance.
We can focus on driving and we can back off.
It is an older neighborhood, so the streets are very narrow.
After a close call at Myrtle and McCullough,
Oh, just hit another vehicle.
then another one with a forklift on East Locust. The chase passed by the original crime scene on Army.
Knocking out the window. I don't know anything.
The more than 23-minute pursuit
Looks like he wrecked out.
finally ending in front of a home on Euclid. Kiala, with the machete within reach on the floorboard of the van, continued to scream as the officers walked up.
Was he telling you to shoot him?
He was yelling at both of us as we're approaching him, and we are weapons drawn at that point. We know he's got a machete.
When we came up to him, we were waiting for him to grab the machete. I thought he was going to grab it for sure.
Gallegos and Barrera decided to go hands-on, a split-second decision that saved Kiala's life and ended with him in handcuffs.
It could have been a lot worse. It could have been a deadly force situation.
The general public's okay, we're all okay, and he's in jail, and that's a good thing.
Dillon Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Inside that chase, court records show Kiala's criminal history dates back to 1998. Both women hurt by him survived that machete attack. The chase can be seen in its entirety right now on our website, KSAT.com.
This is about as egregious as I've seen in my tenure here of someone trying to utilize and really game the garage sale system.
Neighbors call it the Perpetual yard sale, a nearly weekly traffic tie-up along a northeast side street. But a 6-month undercover investigation by the KSAT 12 defenders found far more than old clothes being peddled there, and the people behind the sales wanting nothing to do with our cameras.
The night team's Dillon Collier on why this footage is now a top priority for code enforcement.
On the Friday before Memorial Day, our undercover camera captured footage of these dressers and chairs being put out for sale at 4243 Eisenhower Road. 3 days later, down the street at 4327 Eisenhower, same dressers, same chairs, same woman. Another pattern we uncovered, besides inventory bouncing between homes, yard sale permits bought by people not tied to the properties where the goods were sold.
Yeah, that's concerning.
Development Services Director Michael Shannon says these sales not only violate the yard sale permit ordinance, but possibly city zoning laws.
They're clearly doing something pretty egregious. Really running, it looks like they're running a business out of many homes.
Do you work here? I was looking for furniture.
June 1st, we had a Defender's photographer pose as a prospective buyer. These folks at 4422 Eisenhower were more than happy to talk about their 6 sets of dining chairs, many still wrapped in plastic.
Are these brand new? These look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the sales pitch stopped and almost everyone scattered when the big camera came out.
Ma'am?
Can you talk to us real quick before you walk away? Yeah. Yeah, it's KSAT 12. You'll talk to me later?
It's not my business.
What are you doing here then?
I want to buy something.
He just interviewed you.
Me?
On an undercover camera.
I went over there.
But what are you doing here selling items?
I'm helping my brother. No.
Then there was this woman standing just feet from a table full of brand new laundry and bathroom goods, who was adamant the group is not running an illegal business. How often are you out here at this property selling clothes?
We just had one like in January.
Okay. Why would you consider it a business?
You know, it seems to be pretty clear that they're new merchandise, not typical household items.
Remember the dressers, rounded chairs, and the woman in the hat? 30 minutes after interviewing Shannon, the Perpetual yard sale continued. This time, the stockpile included a table full of power tools and 9 commercial weed eaters.
What can I say?
For the Defenders, Dillon Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Now, Shannon called the sales unacceptable and said his department is in the process of cracking down on them. These homeowners have been told they violated the city's yard sale ordinance and could face criminal charges if the activity continues.
They call it cocaine on consignment and drugs being sold from Eastside lots that resembled competing car dealerships. Federal court records paint quite a picture of what led to a spike in crime in East San Antonio.
It's a very interesting story. Dillon Collier examining 2 of the most substantial cases in this Defender's investigation.
A federal wiretap last year revealed Lawrence Manor and his associates were converting powder cocaine to cocaine base, then providing it to Eastside dealers on a consignment basis, allowing them to pay back the Bloods gang member and his group later. When one dealer failed to hold up his end of the arrangement, federal investigators say this trio beat him up, then kidnapped him, tying up his hands and feet with rope and covering his head with a shirt. Had the feds not been listening, there's a strong chance the dealer would have been killed. Instead, when FBI agents and SAPD officers raided Manor's home the next morning, the man was found alive.
They're selling narcotics, prostitution, there's weapons involved. A lot of these crimes lead to violent crimes, so we need to get out there, we need to stop this kind of behavior.
Which is why the multi-agency violent crime task force continues to infiltrate the East Side. SAPD alone arrested more than 1,400 people from January to the start of November last year.
I think it's been so successful because now you have different agencies speaking with one another.
At a detention hearing in November for several Crips facing federal drug charges, an FBI agent declared that a rash of shootings last summer, including one that killed 4-year-old Dervion Whitley, was part of a war over territory between splinter groups of the same gang. One of the men rounded up as part of a drug conspiracy case after the shootings, Dervion's father, Earl Whitley Jr. And some of the charges in these massive cases are reaching their conclusions here at federal court. Earl Whitley Jr. earlier today pleaded guilty to that drug conspiracy charge. He is scheduled to be sentenced August 3rd. Live downtown, Dillon Collier, KSAT 12 News.
It sounds like his son caught in the middle of this turf war. Thank you, Dillon. Coming up on the Night Beat tonight at 10, our look at the efforts to combat crime on the East Side continues. The crime fighters right along with the Violent Crime Task Force, which was sent into the East Side as this gang turf war reached its pinnacle. As a battle for drug territory consumed San Antonio's East Side, a group of local, state, and federal law enforcement took on the mission of ending gun violence. No easy task. In tonight's Crime Fighters report, Dillon Collier brings us a rare up-close look at the progress of the Violent Crime Task Force.
As soon as people start to see our marked patrol vehicle, without us even telling them anything, they'll already start walking off.
SAPD street crimes officers Olguin and Gallegos settle in for another night patrolling crime hotspots in East San Antonio.
Do you mind if I check you for any weapons?
As part of the Violent Crime Task Force, street-level interaction
Just be honest, because I can smell marijuana in there.
Often leads to uncovering criminal behavior.
What kind of affiliation did you come back with?
Mexican mafia.
But at Ferris and Bellinger, one of San Antonio's most notorious intersections, among the bullet holes you'll find signs of progress. A lot that months ago was a car-filled sanctuary for drug dealers
Numerous cars just parked there, abandoned.
is now deserted. Homicides citywide dropped 16% last year, a decrease attributed by police in large part to the task force snuffing out suspects before they committed violent crimes.
Just be honest, man. Are you blood? Old school blood? Come on, man. You must think this is my first rodeo, huh?
Not his first rodeo and not the last vehicle he would search this night. In East San Antonio.
All right, guys, y'all are free to go. I appreciate y'all's cooperation, all right?
Dillon Collier, KSAT 12 News.
A San Antonio Police Department spokeswoman says despite the across-the-board drop in violent crime, there are no plans at this point to end the task force's work.
Officers working at a downtown detention facility parking for free.
Yeah, while people with disabilities that should be using those spots being forced to fend for themselves.
It's a severe lack of consideration for fellow human beings.
We uncovered what disability advocates are calling a serious safety issue playing out in the heart of downtown San Antonio.
The night team's Dillon Collier interrupts the practice in tonight's Defenders investigation.
Spend some time around the Central Texas detention facility and you'll see that metered parking directly in front of it on South Laredo Street is at a premium. Look closer and you'll see those spots are often taken up by the guards who work inside. A full row means no room for other drivers, including those who benefit most from being as close to their destination as possible. Using undercover cameras for 3 weeks, we watched as guards used disability placards and disabled veteran plates to park here, often all day. Taking advantage of a city ordinance that allows people driving cars with these placards or plates to park in its lots for free for up to 24 hours at a time. No one exploited the rule more than this woman, Joanne Compa. Her bright yellow Camaro, equipped with disabled veteran plates, occupied a spot nearly every weekday as she shuttled federal prisoners to and from court. August 29th, Compa traveled off-site and left her Camaro behind, taking up a spot while she wasn't even at work. At the same time, people with physical disabilities were relegated to more distant parking spots. Joanne? Compa now admits the plates don't belong to her.
These are your husband's?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're using them to park for up to 10 hours at a time in a metered spot for free. Is that fair?
Well, I mean, my husband is disabled.
But you're not.
Well, this is his vehicle. I think it's sad.
Melanie Cawthon, executive director of local nonprofit Disability SA, says accessible parking is not about convenience.
It protects them from being hit by another vehicle, from having a heart attack because they're not supposed to walk far, or even just the exhaustion of having a physical or mobility disability.
Something apparently not taken into account by guard Mario Castillo. His Camaro, with its Camario vanity plates and disability placard, was also a common sight in the metered row.
Courtesy-wise, there's no reason for him to take up an accessible parking spot.
Camario? Dillon with KSAT 12.
Castillo confirming to us that the placard belongs to his mother-in-law, who at no point during our investigation was ever seen with him.
If she had to park further away because of people like you, do you think that's a fair situation?
You know, a fair situation? No, I don't think so. Well, I'm sorry.
Okay. Good luck.
For the Defenders, Dillon Collier, KSAT 12 News.
We reached out to the GEO Group, which runs the facility where these employees work. A spokesman told us by email, quote, "Our company believes that parking laws and regulations should be observed and complied with. The parking spaces in question are public and are not within our company's control or monitoring," end quote.
Despite violating his probation more than 24 times since pleading no contest to DWI last year, Bexar County Commissioner Kevin Wolf has stayed out of jail.
About a months-long Defenders investigation found other drunk driving defendants, many of them with fewer violations, have not had the same fate.
Dillon Collier examines the probation process in tonight's Defenders report.
And Jonathan Watkins is...
As Zachary Rios was put in handcuffs inside a Bexar County courtroom late last month, Commissioner Kevin Wolf was on a county-paid trip to the nation's capital, seen here on a video posted to his Facebook page of a panel discussing, coincidentally, the future of driving in Texas. Rios, like Wolf, is on probation for a drunk driving-related conviction. The prosecutor assigned to Rios' case moved to revoke his probation in late November after he missed a single breath test. Rios was rearrested. 1 week later, a probation report filed in Wolf's case confirmed the commissioner had skipped 24 breath tests and tested positive for alcohol. No warrant issued, no motion to revoke filed. Instead, Wolf's alcohol monitoring was extended for 2.5 months.
There's a lot of different people that have say-so in these matters.
Ernest Acevedo III is one of Bexar County's top DWI attorneys.
It's not unusual for a person to have violations and then not have a motion to revoke filed.
Acevedo and county probation officials say the courts do what they can to help people complete probation, but it's common for DWI defendants to land back in jail for slip-ups.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
In the 5 weeks leading up to Wolf's violations being revealed,
and ma'am, will you please raise your right hand?
Records show 41 other DWI defendants were rearrested after motions were filed to revoke their probation. Defendants such as Kevin Schmidt, who, like Wolf, had no previous criminal record when he was arrested early last year for driving while intoxicated with an elevated blood alcohol level, the same charge Wolf faced. Schmidt rearrested in December after twice testing positive for alcohol when blowing into an ignition interlock device, his only documented violations. He'll be back in court in late March to find out if he's headed back to jail. For the defenders, Dillon Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Kevin Wolf declined our request for an interview for this story. His probation is scheduled to end next month. Rios, who was rearrested in front of our camera, had a DWI case heard before a judge with the zero tolerance policy in probation cases. Not helping Rios' cause, he's also on probation for felony failure to stop and render aid.
We have a timeline of Wolf's arrest right now on our website, from the day he was arrested to when he said he mixed medication to when he pleaded no contest and skipped alcohol monitoring tests. It's all on the homepage of KSAT.com.